Guys, welcome to my channel, An Aesthetic Nurse. Today's video is going to be all about my stats when I applied to CRNA school. First, let's talk about BSN versus ASN. I went straight ahead and got my bachelor's degree. I kind of wish I went and got my associate's degree. I felt like it would have been shorter and probably less expensive, but I went ahead and got my bachelor's degree. I went to the best nursing school in the United States of America, Troy University. And after I graduated, I went straight into the emergency room. So as far as experience, I have 2 years of ER experience. Within my first year, I went ahead and got my trauma nursing core certification, which is a TNCC certification. And then after about a year and 8 months, 2 years in the emergency room, I transitioned to the cardiac ICU, also known as CCU. Yeah, and as far as ICU experience, I had a total of 10 months experience when I applied, and the minimum requirements is 1 year of ICU experience. I got in with 10 months, but I honestly and truly recommend at least having 2 to 3 years of ICU experience. I feel like that will make you a more competitive applicant. And one thing I do want to mention, just because I got in with these stats doesn't mean that you're going to get in with your stats. I feel like you should go above and beyond. Make sure your application is complete. Make sure you have all of the minimum requirements, and that will just increase your odds of getting accepted. So I went ahead and got my bachelor's degree. I had 2 years of ER experience and 1 year of ICU for a total of almost 3 years nursing. As far as my grade point average, I had a 3.84 grade point average, which I think kind of helped me get a foot in the door. The minimum requirements for most CRNA schools when I was doing my research is about 3.5. I've heard of people getting accepted with a 3.2, 3.3 grade point average. But if you want to get into CRNA school, make sure your grades are high. There are going to be a ton of applicants with high GPAs. So go ahead and just work your butt off in nursing school and try to get the highest GPA you can get. But I have heard of students getting in with a 3.2, 3.3. The main thing is making sure that your application is more well-rounded and complete, and that'll just increase your odds of getting accepted. So like I said, my grade point average is 3.84. As far as certifications, I had my ACLS, I had my BLS, I had my PALS certification from working in the emergency room, and then like I said, I had my TNCC. Most anesthesia schools want to see that you have taken the Ccrn, so go ahead and take that Ccrn. I had all intentions on taking it. I bought books and everything, but time just passed me by, and I was like, you know what, go ahead and apply, see if you get in. If you don't, then start working on the Ccrn. But I was able to get in. I had my TNCC, like I said, and I think it kind of maybe set me apart from some of the other applicants. Oh, and one more thing to mention about experience as far as nursing. A lot of schools do not count ER experience as critical care experience. In my interview, I kind of played it up, and I was like, well, you know, I have ER experience. It was a fast-paced environment. I'm hyper vigilant because of the ER. I'm able to spot, you know, simple changes in patients. I have great time management skills, and so I kind of played up the ER, and I told them that becoming a CRNA was kind of a mixture of the ER and ICU, because it is fast-paced. You do get to intubate patients and, you know, save lives, as well as you do with those the vasoactive drugs, and, you know, you do with vent settings. And so I just kind of sold myself. I tried to sell the ER position, the ER experience, along with the ICU. But for the record, ER experience doesn't really count. I don't know why. I feel like it should count, but I guess it's not critical enough. And there are different levels of ER, so maybe if you went to like a trauma level 3 hospital and said that you had, you know, critical care experience, you may not see as critical patients as if you were at trauma 1. So I kind of see why they made that a requirement. And this is ginger tea, by the way. As far as like extracurricular activities or honor societies or whatever. I am a part of the ENA, the Emergency Nurses Association. I am a part of the AACN, American Association of Critical Care Nurses. I was a member of Phi Kappa Phi, which is an honor society. I was a member of Sigma Theta Tau. That honor society looks really good on your application. It's the Honor Society for Nurses. So I did make sure I brought a copy of my certification from that honor society in my portfolio. And I was a part of like the UPC. I have been a relief charge nurse, was recently put into a charge nurse position prior to my interviews, and so I mentioned that in the interviews. So just try to be very active on your unit and be just very active while you're in nursing school. I was vice president in nursing school. I was a member of Student Nurses Association. So just try to be involved in at least 1 or 2 activities, even if you don't want to and you don't have the time. It looks good on your resume. How many hours did I shadow? So I shadowed for a total of 24 hours. None of the schools that I applied to asked for you know, documented hours, but I did shadow for a total of 24 hours. Some schools ask for you to have it documented, and some schools don't. So go ahead and get that shadow experience. Like I said, it will let you know for sure if this is something that you want to Next, let's talk about the GRE. I kind of don't want to talk about the GRE. The GRE was the worst experience of my life, and I said it in my last video. I hated it. A lot of the schools are looking for a cumulative GRE score of 300 or higher. I did not make that cumulative. Mine was maybe 298. In the analytics section, I got a 3.5, and I'm so embarrassed to even like say what I made because I am a perfectionist. I tried to make the highest scores possible and very competitive, but I studied for 2 months for the GRE, and honestly, half of those words I didn't know. The testing center was just annoying being there. Like, I hated everything about the GRE. The math you may have learned in primary school in grade 6, maybe grade 7. So go ahead and start studying early in advance if you're gonna take the GRE. But my writing score was 3.5. It was average. My verbal was 144, which was terrible. And then my verbal, I think it's quantitative, whatever. It was 144 as well. So my scores weren't good at all. I'm kind of embarrassed to even mention them to you, but I just want to be honest and put this video out here so that you can know that you know, even if you don't meet the requirements that some of the other applicants have, or people tell you that you have to have, you still can go ahead and apply and you may get accepted. And I think that's it as far as my stats. I talked about my degree. I talked about my grade point average, certifications, honor societies, my experience, how many hours I shadowed. One more thing I do want to mention is you can have the GPA. You can have a 3.8 grade point average. And I think I was talking about this with our educator at my hospital. So you can have the highest grade point average, and if you go in there in that interview and bomb that interview, or you're not confident, or you don't know the medications, you don't have the qualities that they're looking for, you're not going to get accepted. You can have 10 years of ICU experience, and if you don't have the grade point average, it just seemed to them that you didn't even put in enough time in nursing school. So you may not get accepted. You could have all the certifications in the world. I know someone that had an average grade point average. She had the Ccrn. She had more ICU experience than me, but didn't get accepted, and it's because these schools are competitive and they are looking for certain qualities in students. So one thing I just want you to take away from this video is try to make sure that your application is whole. Try to have above and beyond the amount of ICU experience they require. Try to have all the certifications. Just try to shoot for the moon, because it's no point in going through all this trouble to pay for application fees to more than one school, and you don't even meet the minimum requirements. You're just setting yourself up for failure. So go ahead and try to be exceedingly and abundantly well. Like, try to be that awesome applicant where they can't say no to you at all. And another thing is, I applied to 2 CRNA schools. I got 2 interviews. One of them I was accepted, the other one I got a wait list email for. So I think I'm pretty qualified to talk about and recommend stuff to apply to CRNA school. I don't know, but like I said, the main thing is look at that school, look at the requirements early and advanced. Try to do well. That's my recommendation. Try to be above average. Just because someone got in with 10 months ICU experience doesn't mean you should wait 10 months and apply. If you feel like you're not ready, go ahead, get your 2-3 years of ICU experience and then apply. Just pray about it, make sure you're ready, make sure you do research on that school and know what they want, and then go on allnurses.com. There's people with stats, there's people telling you about their interview experience. They're not telling you about the questions, but just about the experience and just recommendations. So go ahead and look on allnurses.com. Just do your research. And that's all, folks. That's pretty much it. Those are my stats. My GPA was good. I think some of my other areas were a little bit average, but they kind of balance out. So if you have any questions, just DM me. My Instagram is theanestheticnurse. You could like this video, you could comment below, email me, I don't care, I'll answer all questions. I really want this video and this YouTube page just to be a community to where we can discuss things, give each other advice, and just kind of uplift each other. That way we can all have the tea and the tools to be able to apply and get accepted to CRNA school. So I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace!